Welcome, everybody, to Pinfalls and Passports. For those who don't already know, this is a podcast for people just like you who love the sport of professional wrestling and for members of our WWE Travel Community Discord server. Not a member of the Travel Community Discord server? Come join one of the fastest growing pro wrestling communities online. You can find the Discord invite link here in the podcast bio. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Pinfalls and Passports and TikTok at Pinfalls_Passports. And please don't forget to follow and subscribe to this podcast to keep up to date with all things involving the wacky world of professional wrestling. My name is Dorkchop, and this is Pinfalls and Passports, and I am flying solo tonight, folks. So we're going to start off this week with the SmackDown that happened last Friday, and it kicks off with a backstage segment with Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes talking in the back and with a lurking Drew McIntyre. Long story short, Jimmy's going to go talk to Nick Aldis to try and get a match with Drew later on, while Cody's going to talk to the people. It is during this interaction, this promo, that Cody's match with Drew at Saturday night's main event is made official for the WWE Championship. He addresses his actions from last week, seems rather pleased that he smacked Drew with the belt. You know, I would be too. Now, Drew comes out to accuse Cody of crimes and brainwashing of the audience. And, and you'll just do anything. You'll just cheer him if he does anything. Which, to be fair, we would. We'll cheer Cody to the ends of the earth. He could do everything short of murder. But then he accuses him of taking out Jacob Fatu. This brings out Jimmy, who brawls with Drew not once, but twice. All over the place. Which leads to a later declaration that Jimmy will face Drew in the main event of SmackDown in a no disqualification match. Which, to be fair, it was a standard no DQ match, replete with the requisite table spots. And obviously Drew wins because, well, why would you have your number one contender jobbing to Jimmy Uso on SmackDown? Later on, post-match beatdown, and Cody comes out for the save, and he gets Claymored for his troubles. So that's your go-home angle, because I don't think they're going to have any interaction this Friday on SmackDown. There might be a talking segment. But, yeah, Drew standing tall after Cody gets Claymored. And, of course, we have the MFTs taking on Rey Fenix and Shinsuke Nakamura, which, again, MFTs, the numbers game eventually overwhelms Fenix and Nakamura, and the MFTs get the win. I really can't say much about the MFTs. They annoy me. Then we had Tiffy versus Kiana James. And this is where things got interesting, folks. Because Jade came out to help after Tiffany won. It resulted in a post-match beatdown by Kiana and Julia, which I thought this angle with Julia and Kiana James was going to lead to Julia getting a shot at the big belt. Because, come on, if you could have Julia as your WWE Women's Champion, I take that all day. But it led to Jade Cargill coming out for the save. And then, like I said, this is where things got interesting. Because Jade, after helping Tiffany fend off Kiana and Julia, then starts to attack Tiffany. So, oh my God, Jade turned heel. I'll tell you this right now, folks. This better result in Jade Cargill winning the WWE Women's Championship at Saturday night's main event. Otherwise, what's the frickin' point? We've been teasing this so long now. We had a match at SummerSlam. We had a match on SmackDown that resulted in Jade getting her eye busted open, and that she probably should have won. But now we have heel turn Jade, which I'm sure is going to lead to more of the character that she had in AEW. It would walk up on an interviewer and tell him to cut the shit. I hope to see that Jade Cargill here in WWE. Maybe a little bit more reserved, watered down, but still with that edge or cope, whatever. Anyway, so I'm excited for the Jade Cargill heel run. I think it needs to start with a championship win. Obviously, Tiffany's been champion for 300 days, and her run's been very milquetoast. So I think really we need to get the belt off of Tiffany and onto Jade as soon as possible. Because like I've said before, if you're trying to figure out whether or not somebody can handle the weight of a championship, the fall is the perfect time. This time of year is the perfect time, right up to the run up to the Royal Rumble. Give them a 3-month reign, see if they can handle it. And Triple H has said he wants to be sure that Jade can handle everything. Now's the perfect time to find out if she can handle the weight of being champion. So I'm excited. I hope Jade wins at Saturday night's main event. We'll get into that later on. And I hope to see more U.S. Championship Open challenges from Ilya Dragunov. Also, by the way, Sami Zayn is a hype machine. Wasn't cleared to go, but he came out to talk to Ilya. And he was like, "You got this, man." And then you can just see Ilya like, "Yeah, I got this." Kind of like, "Thank you, Sami." And he charges out the ring. And then they make a point to mention the fact that nobody can channel rage like Ilya Dragunov. And I agree. Now, the Open Challenge is answered by Alistair Black. And I just have to say, folks, this whole replacement Scarlett and Carrion vibe that they're going for with Zelina and Alistair, I'm not buying it. It's not hitting for me. It's like a Team U version of Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I'm just going to say it right now. It's not hitting. I hope they do something different with these guys to differentiate themselves from Karrion and Scarlett, because otherwise Fall and Pray is all I'm going to hear when I see these two coming out. Anyway, so Alistair answers the Open Challenge. They have an awesome match. Lots of heart-stopping near falls, and out comes Damian Priest to distract Alistair long enough for Ilya to retain. And I'm just going to say right now, yeah, I figured there might be a follow-up after the Fireball, but then I also thought maybe this was the time we were going to see a longer absence from Priest. I thought this was over, but, just when they thought I was out, they pulled me back in. So I don't know what stipulations left for them to use, though. I mean, other than like, I don't know, Hell in a Cell. That's the only way I see this finishing. I could be wrong. Maybe it's an Inferno match because Alistair wanted to bring fireballs into it. Maybe they have a Great Balls of Fire match. I'll see myself out. But yes, I'm scratching my head as to what kind of stipulation they could have to settle this feud once and for all, for God's sake, because it feels like it's been going on forever. And maybe it hasn't. Maybe I'm just tired of it. But they need to end it. Carmelo Hayes had an interview segment, and he said that he and The Miz are even. Oh, Mello. No, you're not even. Just saying that you're even probably incensed The Miz. And he's going to have a match next week with Kit Wilson, and I think that's going to lead to some Miz interference, and we're going to get a match between Mello and Miz. It's at a later date, obviously. SmackDown in November, probably. Fraxium wants the gold, and they were talking to Ilya about open challenges, and Ilya's like, either one of you, hey, I don't know. It's not exclusive to singles wrestlers. I'll take on tag team wrestlers. He stopped short saying, I'll take you both on at the same time, but I got the sense that might be where he was going with it. Like, you could both answer at the same time. I'll beat you both. But that also led to DIYs waltzing in, insulting Fraxium and telling them to stick to tag team action. And of course, after they leave, in comes Tama Tonga to give him a little throat slash gesture. And then we had a backstage segment with Charlotte and Alexa hyping up their tag team title match that Bayley punked them out to give them on social media. Bayley and Lyra would get a tag team title shot on Monday's Raw, and this is where it started. And I'll tell you right now, when we get to that match, give the ladies their flowers. So that leads us to Raw. Jey Uso and CM Punk have a promo segment in which Punk basically punks Jey and says, how far are you willing to go to win the World Heavyweight Championship? And of course, Jey tells him he's willing to do anything. And then, of course, 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. Of course, there's some cute little back and forth between the two of them in there where Punk steals all of his bits. And it got me a little bit hyped for the Saturday night's main event match, which I'm going to get into predictions later on about. Nice promo segment to hype the match, though. And then we got more backstage drama from the Judgment Day. Stop me if you heard this one. Anyway, Rusev and Penta had a match. Lots of hard shots into the post by Rusev. And there was interference by the Americanos, who were apparently called to help make sure that there was no winner. The call was made by one Dominic Mysterio. Well, that plan backfired on Dom, and Adam Pearce informed Dominic that he is going to have a triple threat title defense at Saturday night's main event, which I'll give my opinions on later in the show. But, like I said, good match between Rusev and Penta. I look forward to their inevitable rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. I just gave away my pick, didn't I? Well, I didn't tell you who I thought was going to win, but I think Dom's going to lose. Roxanne Perez took on Nikki Bella. And I got to say this right now, Roxy at a young age is a ring general. And she proved it by getting a solid match out of Nikki Bella. Like, solid match. Roxy wins with the Pop Rocks. And then there was a post-match beatdown that brings out Stephanie Vaquer. Probably getting a tag match out of this next week with Stephanie and Nikki teaming up against Roxanne and Raquel. Another Usos backstage segment. Jim's shooting straight. And Jay is justifying his actions in the Battle Royal by saying, yeah, I got to get mine. Which, I mean, no, I don't agree with it. LA Knight wants the winner of Jay and Punk, but he's got to get through Braun Breaker first. You got the usual Vision shenanigans in this match. Braun wins after a spear, but he also landed really bad on his head, which, I mean, maybe it's just the old man in me that just saw this, this bump that Braun Breaker took, and I was like, oh, goodness gracious, that looks like it really hurts. And thought they were going to stop the match because LA Knight went, into the corner, yanked Braun's legs out from under him, and basically the back of Braun's head hit the turnbuckle and smacked really hard off the mat. And if you saw it, you were probably like me, like, ooh, goodness gracious, that doesn't look like he landed right. And, I was concerned for Braun Breaker's well-being because I worry about these guys because, quite frankly, they put a lot on the line for our entertainment, and it's just tough to watch sometimes. The bumps that they take, they're pretty scared. Because I imagine me taking those bumps, and I'm like, ow, that might hurt. But that's just me. Sheamus and JD McDonough. This was a good match. Shockingly so. JD McDonough can take bumps and sell like nobody's business. Sheamus is always a solid hand. They had a great match all over the place. JD got ragdolled pretty much. But at the end of the day, because Finn Balor was in the corner of JD McDonough, JD got the win. I was stunned that JD McDonough got the win. I was impressed more than anything because I felt like this was going to be a Sheamus squash. All honesty, I thought this was going to be a squash match for Sheamus to win. So when I saw that JD won, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So good for JD. Keeps him established, establishes him a little bit more. What does this do for Sheamus? It probably does nothing, but he's probably got that aura about him that allows him to take losses like this. Although this kind of damages that aura a little bit because JD's a little guy. But we'll see what comes of it. Speaking of things that will come out of prior victories, Maxine was backstage with Adam Pearce, and she was raising the valid point that I think I've made on this show before. She's got 2 wins over Becky Lynch, count out and disqualification. That should entitle her to another shot at the Intercontinental Championship. But she feels like she's not ready. I don't know what that means. She took it to Becky Lynch and really gave her a run for her money. So I think that she's ready. I think they're just kind of putting it off for a little while, putting it on the back burner because of some other things like war games maybe. But at some point in the near future, Maxine will get her 3 match, which good for her. I think this time it needs to result in a title change. Next, we had Charlotte and Alexa having a backstage segment with Asuka and Kairi. Asuka and Kairi basically declared their intention to come after Alexa. Yes, I call them that. Alexa basically said, earn it. And then, obviously, Kabuki Warriors made the point that Lyra and Bayley jumped the line. Which, who made the Kabuki Warriors #1 contenders? But because they beat up Rhea Ripley and Io Sky? I guess that's the only argument they have. But, yeah. They won a women's tag team title shot, and they're probably going to get it. Before we get to the Lyra Bayley and Charlotte Alexa match, which was a great match, by the way, we had an AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. I know. where nobody's here to laugh at my jokes. I'm sorry. AJ and Dragon Lee against the Judgment Day next week for the World Tag Team titles. I have a bad feeling they're gonna hot shot the titles back onto the Judgment Day. I mean, they ain't gonna do that, are they, folks? Please don't. I mean, what are they gonna do that for? So they can have the tag titles collect dust for another 6 months? Please, no. I don't want that. I want to see the New Day get their tag title rematch before. I would rather see the New Day get their rematch from WrestleMania before I saw it. Not WrestleMania. When did they live? In June, right? I'd rather see the New Day get their rematch. Let's just say that much. I'd rather see the New Day get their rematch than see the Judgment Day get a rematch. Priority, pecking order, all that stuff. Of course, I'd also like to see Xavier Woods back in action, and I hope he's okay, because the New Day without him is not the same. You know, Kofi's doing his best, and Grayson's kind of there. We'll see for another day. A new day. On to the main event of Raw. That saw Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley take on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. No notes, chef kiss. Beautifully done match. Lots of great ring psychology, great fighting, leading to ultimately Charlotte and Alexa retaining the titles. They try to do a show of respect between the two teams. And now I thought this was either Bayley or Lyra. One of them was going to turn on the other. There was a cute little spot, by the way, in the match where I say cute, but could have been very bad. It could have been disaster had had they not been Alexa and Lyra not thought quickly on their toes. Apparently, Alexa's gear got caught on Lyra's gear, and they're sitting there, pry each other off one another. And finally, Alexa wiggled free of whatever it was that was of hers that was caught on Lyra, so that Lyra could roll out of the ring and get the damn thing off of her. But they went, they worked for. What is it with spot malfunctions and Lyra Valkyria? Because it kind of reminded me of the SummerSlam where the zip tie handcuffs slipped on her, and then the Royal Rumble where she had the clasp on her top come off, and she's sitting there trying to avoid a wardrobe malfunction live on Peacock, which would have I don't know what would have happened, but edit that out. But yeah, she's been prone to wardrobe malfunctions this year, and I hope this gets better for her, because quite frankly, we need to be talking about her wrestling more than her wardrobe malfunctions. But hey, we'll see. But again, great match. Of course, it ends with Charlotte and Alexa retaining, and then the Kabuki Warriors came out and beat up everybody. And I kept waiting for Rhea Ripley and Io Sky to show up, but they did not. So I don't know if this is a pivot for the time being while Rhea recovers from her broken nose, but I need this to blossom into a fatal four-way tag title match, because quite frankly, I'm salivating at that prospect. I think that could be a very well done match. Also, it could also lead to War Games. The women's side, I could lead to that. I just don't know who would join the Kabuki Warriors. I've speculated about it in my mind, but it could lead to the reformation of Damage Control with Io and Bayley rejoining. That'd be going backwards. I'm just spitballing here. War Games is where I see this whole tag situation leading. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong multiple times, but I did call Brodito winning the tag team championships. Thank you for crediting me with that one, Mira. Yes, but that was Monday Night Raw. And now we have my predictions for Saturday night's main event. In no particular order, or what I think will be match card order. We've got Dom versus Penta versus Rusev. And I'm thinking right here, Dom is losing the Intercontinental Championship. No doubt about it this time. There's nobody, the Judgment Day is not going to save him. He's got, he can't be bailed out by a disqualification, because there are no disqualifications in a triple threat match. He can't be bailed out by a count out. He also can do whatever he darn well pleases, because who do you give the disqualification to in a triple threat if he swings a chair at somebody? But also Rusev and Penta, I think one of the two is going to come out on top. And then those two will feud over the Intercontinental Championship to lead us into the winter. As for who it's going to be, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go. Out goes Y.O. Rue. Okay, I'm going with Rusev. There you go. Rusev to win the Intercontinental Championship in the triple threat between Dom, Penta, and Rusev at Saturday night's main event. So there's the first match out of the way. We've only got 4. Next up, we have Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. I've made my feelings clear on this. Like, if the goal is not to crown Jade Cargill at this event, then why did you turn her heel? Okay? At this point, you have to put the belt on Jade. There's no other acceptable outcome. If you have Tiffany win, you ruin Jade's momentum. You ruin Jade as a performer. You undercut the heel turn before it can get started. And basically just make Jade look like a fool. So I can't see them going any other way besides Jade winning. So new champion. Of course, we have Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. Now this is the match where my hands are in the air. I don't know. I don't know who's going to win here. I could see them going a number of ways with this. I could see the boring route with Cody retaining milquetoast, vanilla, whatever. I could see them going the surprise route with Drew winning. I could see them having Drew win by an accidental interference from Randy Orton. Or maybe Randy Orton turns heel and intentionally costs Cody the title. You see where I'm going with this. There's a number of avenues that WWE could choose to go down. Please, Triple H, choose the best one here. Make it exciting. And if, you're going to have Cody win, maybe have him embrace those darker traits. A little the Homelander kind of thing. Cheat to win. Take advantage of circumstances laid out before him. That kind of thing. Maybe have him take a shortcut. But at the end of the day, you need to have a compelling storyline coming out of this. And I think the more compelling storyline is Randy turns on Cody to cost him the championship. So this might be the only one I'm wrong on the whole night. But I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre to win. So Drew McIntyre is your new WWE champion. And I do see them possibly adding a 5th match to this card on Friday night. Don't know what it'll be. Maybe it'll be the MFTs against the Wyatt Six. They've built that kind of nicely. The two factions have had run-ins. And honestly, I think it's time for the Wyatt Six to drop the tag titles, because they've obviously been prepping us for the inevitable MFT tag title run. I just don't find the MFTs very entertaining. I'm sorry. There's going to be people that are calling for my head on that one, but the MFTs just don't do it for me. But they're if there's going to be a 5th match added to Saturday night's main event, that would be my call. MFTs versus Wyatt Six. And I would see the MFTs winning the tag team titles at that event. If not Saturday night's main event, then eventually down the road, they're definitely going to take the tag titles off the Wyatt Six. And then there's our main event of Saturday night's main event. CM Punk versus Jey Uso. Do I see a clean winner here? Well, I see a number of ways they could go with this match. I see CM Punk winning, which is the obvious route. Jey Uso winning, which is the Ari Emanuel says so route. Or you could have no winner and vacant retains because the Vision said so. Of the 3, the most palatable to me is the CM Punk winning option, because quite frankly, I'm a huge CM Punk mark, and I was robbed of my joy at SummerSlam, and I need it back. Remember, we've said this before. A happy dork is a good dork. So Dorkchop needs to see CM Punk win. Besides which, he was born in 78, just like me. We're the same age here, folks. I can relate. He's running out of time to win championships. Give him his run. Give him his flowers. Now, you could obviously have him lose to Braun Breaker later on down the road. Saturday night's main event in DC, which, if that's the case, it'll be the 2nd time this year I've seen in person CM Punk lose the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship, and I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of. But at least give me the CM Punk victory. Jey Uso, I get it. He moves merch. He's popular with the kids. It's a good business decision to put the belt on Jey Uso, and it also furthers his storyline with his brother. I just don't see Jimmy versus Jay Part 2 being a WWE World Heavyweight Championship type storyline. So I don't. And then, of course, the nobody wins because the Vision said so option, which the shittiest option of the three, if you ask me. If you ask anybody, who am I kidding? Anybody with a pulse is going to tell you that option sucks. But also could be the option they go with because Braun and Bronson will not be denied. And they're just going to wreck everything until they get what they want. Which, Mr. Adam Pearce, if you reward that kind of behavior, what are we even doing here? Yeah. So I'm going to go with CM Punk for the win. And then a post-match beatdown by the Vision, making it clear that Braun Breaker intends to challenge CM Punk in the very near future for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And those are my Saturday night's main event predictions. What do you think, folks? Are we going to get a new World Heavyweight Champion? Are we going to have 5 new champions at Saturday night's main event? If everything I said comes true, then we're going to see 5 title changes, which would be pretty wild. That would mean not only that, but on top of that, within the last 2 weeks, we would have had 8 total title changes between NXT and the main roster. And that would be insane turnover for the titles. But I could see it happening. I could definitely see it happening, especially with these matches at Saturday night's main event. But I'll tell you right now, the only ones that I'm really concerned about are Jade Cargill. She better win. Otherwise, again, what was the point? And CM Punk. Please, let me put my pitchfork away for one night, folks. Anyway, I have been Pinfalls and Passports. And I thank you for joining me on this magical journey through a recap of WWE's action for the week and our preview of Saturday night's main event. Until next time, this has been Dorkchop, and this has been Pinfalls and Passports.